I am getting started on my 24-hour write-a-thon. I'm gonna pause, right at the very beginning, of course, because it has been a long day. I need a shower. I was supposed to come home after my kids' activities, take a nap, and be like up and refreshed and ready for the day. We spent like 5 hours at the park. It's now time. Spent 5 hours there, got some pizza for dinner because I'm trying to make things as easy on my husband as possible. And now it's like 20 minutes away from 6 o'clock and it's time to start. So I don't get to take a nap, so I'm exhausted. I'm super excited because it does give me an excuse to drink some caffeine later in the day, which is like the deepest desire of my heart, is to be fully fueled with energy, not necessarily like caffeine, energy, good healthy energy. I don't get that right now. So caffeine it is. I think that a shower will definitely help me tonight. I'm doing this right now. I'm starting at 6 o'clock at night instead of like in the morning, because that gives me the whole night that the kids are asleep, and then the next day until 6 o'clock. Then I can go to sleep instead of staying awake, like starting in the morning and then staying awake all night and then having to be up and coherent. That only takes me out of the familial picture for a day and like part of a night instead of 2 full days. In order to get myself a little bit more energized, I'm gonna go jump in the shower. I'm gonna do all the things that make me feel good, and it should take me about 20 minutes to get that done, and then it'll be 6 o'clock and I'll jump to it, and I will also give you guys a quick little rundown of everything that I've done to prepare up until this point. That being said, hi everybody, my name is Anna. I am a content writer and an aspiring author, and this is the channel where I talk about all that. Today I'm doing a 24-hour write-a-thon, and I'm super excited, and I hope that you're excited to catch you on the flip side. Okay, it is officially 6:02, which technically means that I'm supposed to be starting right now. Okay, so first things first, I do want to talk a little bit about basically the goals of the 24-hour write-a-thon. I want to see how much I can do, how much I can write, and how far I can push myself. I think it's really important as writers to understand what we can do in certain situations. My life circumstances have changed drastically since the last time I was into writing to any degree. I'm pretty sure I did a 10K day, stuff like that, but I've never done a 24-hour write-a-thon, and I want to see in this new life circumstance what I can accomplish in these 24 hours with focus and intention. The main goal of the 24-hour write-a-thon is really to finish Project EW. I have been working on this project for, it's coming up on almost 2 years, and I think that normally I would probably be able to finish a draft pretty quickly. Like I have written 50,000 words in a month, no problem. I've also fast drafted several stories, but this story has proven to be a much harder task than any of the other ones. And part of that is because I was pregnant when I first had this idea, and very quickly into that pregnancy, I've wrote about 15,000 words, maybe 20,000 here or there. And as I got further along into the pregnancy, my brain was just not in it, and neither was my energy. I don't know if I've mentioned it, but I ended up preeclamptic with the possibility of having seizures at the end of the pregnancy, and so it was drastically different than any of my other pregnancies. The story itself took a back seat in, like, not even the back seat, the very end of the bed of the truck, like on the hitch, dangling like one of those little decorations for Halloween. It was just sitting there. The desire has been there to write, but I couldn't get my brain to focus well enough on it for long enough. So in the end, the writing of it did not really happen. This draft, the main goal of this 24-hour write-a-thon is to have this draft completed by the end of the day. And in the end, it does not matter if I have all of the words written. It does not matter if it is the most complete thing I have ever written. What does matter at the end of this by the 30th, by the end of the month, which is tomorrow, which is the end of this write-a-thon, I will call this draft complete. It doesn't matter if I know that there are other things that need to be written and could be written. If I don't get it within this 24 hours, the draft is done either way. I will catch it on the next round. The end goal of this is to finish Project DW so that next month I can actually get to reworking it and getting it to where it needs to be in terms of readability for other people. At the very least, you are going to hear me say I finished draft 1 of Project DW. So, you know, spoiler alert. Let's talk a little bit about how I prepared for this 24-hour write-a-thon. So I pulled out every bit of writing that I have already done on Project DW. Not necessarily what's drafted, but what I have in note cards and in my notebook, wherever that went, because that's gone. I took all of that and I compiled it into different files and different places in which I know where they are, basically. I compiled it into what I know that I have and what the story needs. This is a little bit different than what I'll be doing next month, where I figure out the little holes that need to be filled within the story after I've reworked the plot and reworked the sequence of events to fit more chronologically together. What I did for this is I literally just went through and I took all of the things that I knew, all of the scenes that I have an idea of what they are, where they fit, and I wrote them down. I have a file in which I have them all listed, and they're not necessarily outlined. I'll partially be doing that as I go through the write-a-thon, but they are written down in a way that I know what they mean, what they need, why they're there in the story. So they're things that are interconnected by like plot threads, things that I know the purpose of, maybe not necessarily the where in the story that they fit, but the how, like why are they connected. The next thing I did is I looked up romance plot beats, and this is really fun because the portion of the story that I will be focusing on very heavily for the next 24 hours, there will be other portions of the story, but the main one that I want to get done is the major romance part of the story. So I have it separate timelines, separate, not necessarily perspectives, it's all kind of the same person, but it is different timelines. The timeline that I'm writing through right now is where the main source of the romance comes from, like the meet cutes and all of that. There are flashbacks to their younger years, but there are circumstances involved that I can't talk about because they're a bit spoilery. However, this is where the romance is. So I went and I looked through, I've never actually written a romance. I've never plotted through a romance. I love stories with a heavy romance influence, that are heavily influenced by romances, or where the romance is heavily influenced by the circumstances of the story rather than like just straight romance novels. Like there's nothing wrong with them, they're not my thing. For this, I actually had to go through and research romance plot beats, and so that's what I did. I paired different plot beats with where they fit in the story and different scenes to fill them in. I made a game plan for how I want to proceed. I really want to make my way all the way through the story, all the way through all of the scenes that I have figured out, but I know that it's not necessarily not that it's not possible, but I just don't know if that's actually going to happen. There are a lot of different variables that go into this. I have controlled absolutely everything that I can control within this situation, and right now it's just, you know, hoping that those variables that I can't foresee, you know, don't influence me. I'm going to follow the same point and shoot method. I'll pick a scene and I'll write through it. If I hit a hiccup, I won't worry about not pushing through. I will pick a different scene and I'll start writing that. Something that I'm really feeling, that I know the structure and everything about it, I'll probably take a couple of minutes to sit and think about it. And if something's not hitting me, then I will not worry about it. I'll probably come back to it later. But the most important thing is that it's there to some degree and I can place it somewhere in the draft later. I want to get some words every hour. My game plan doesn't necessarily involve just sitting there strictly, you know, pushing my head forward, and then, you know, if I get tired, I'll back off and go do something else. Within every hour, I do want to get some words in. So that could be as little as 10 words. I don't care, but every single hour I want to focus on writing something. And that does mean that I may get as little as 10 words and sit there doing nothing. It may mean that I track 2,000 words in 1 hour, which would be epic. Like, that would be fantastic. Not likely, because I typically write about 1,000 words an hour, and I figure The farther along I get, the more tired I'm gonna get, which means that I'll be writing slower probably later tomorrow. I hope it doesn't happen. I do plan on being well caffeinated. I do want to track how well I'm doing, how well I'm feeling about the actual writing of the thing. I want to track how I wrote, how many words I wrote, so how I drafted. So did I dictate or did I actually write the words or did I handwrite them? I probably won't do any handwriting in this portion because I just want to get it all typed up on the computer. I've tested the waters a little bit with dictation. I've gotten about 200 words in 5 minutes, which is pretty good. And if I can do that, then I can get a pretty good lead on the drafting itself, which would be fantastic. But I want to see how much deeper I can go into dictation and see how well I do with it. I do have a tracker that I will create. I'm supposed to have created it already, but I took a shower instead. I do have a tracker that I'll create in just a minute as soon as this is done, where I will track all of that. It'll help keep me accountable and it will show me everything that I've accomplished at the end of the day, and I'm really excited for that. By the end of the day, even if everything isn't written, I will call this draft done and I'll be able to enjoy all of the rewards that come with that. I'm now going to switch over after this very lengthy explanation and I'm going to write. I am starting this write-a-thon with 37,994, so just under 38,000. My goal is hopefully to hit 60,000, but that is, you know, a major stretch goal. I'd be happy with 10, ecstatic with 15. If I hit 20,000, I rock. I have spent far more time getting that prepared than I thought I would. It was supposed to take like 5 minutes. It took like 20. I now have 7 minutes left in the first hour of this write-a-thon. It is like toasty here and it's also drizzly and rainy and hot. So I'm like already feeling exhausted from this. Never mind the fact that I woke up at 6 o'clock this morning to the sound of something popping like a gunshot. Ended up being soda pop that my husband and I are making, but that was fun to wake up to. Anyway, so I'm exhausted, I'm tired, but I'm not gonna let that stop me. I have 6 minutes now to get my gears going and just plow ahead. I spent too much time in the beginning doing things that were not moving the story forward. So now I'm going to get my butt in gear and move the dang story forward. And I want to have as much momentum as I possibly can. So I think I'm gonna make a bit of a wild goal in that I want to have 5,000 words in the first 6 hours, because technically I only have 5 minutes left in this hour now. So I'm gonna go for 200 words in this 5 minutes and see how well I can do that. In the first hour, I got 126 words, which is not quite 200, but honestly for like 5 minutes, that's not terrible, and I'm taking it. Hour 1 is done, 23 left. Hour 2 is done. I did 2 sprints and I tried both dictation and typing. I got 648 total. Well, no. What did I get? So I got 675. I tried both dictation and typing. I dictated a little bit in the beginning. Hi. I feel like dictation is a good jumping off point to get thoughts going, but I don't think I can do it long term. So that is hour 2 down. It was a good hour. Now my goal is to get a baby to sleep. After my other kids are down, I'll be switching from here to going downstairs and typing down there. I do not expect that I'll get a whole lot done this coming hour, but maybe my 5,000 goal in 5 hours. It's a little bit of a stretch. This hour has not proved great. We are at least 45 minutes into hour 3 and I have not actually written anything. Went to put a baby to bed and he did not want to go down for me. I tried and tried and tried. There's a mosquito eater just flying around trying to get inside. I tried and tried and tried and he did not want to go to sleep for me. My husband's like, okay, he's ready. He's like, and I came downstairs to grab him and he was literally falling asleep in his lap. I brought him up to bed. Nothing. So now my husband is in there trying to get him down because I want to at least get something in this hour. On the bright side, it is delightfully drizzly as it has been all day, and it's just a beautiful evening for writing. I'm going to sit down and do what I can with these last, like, I don't know, 5 minutes maybe, and try to get something in, because that's the goal, is writing something every single hour. On the bright side, I'm feeling pretty good, so I guess I'll check in like 5 minutes maybe. That was actually moderately more productive than I thought it was going to be. I really only had about 5 minutes in the end because I ended up having to set everything up and make sure my keyboard was connected to my phone. However, I got 92 words on that sprint. Even though I ended up having to, stop for almost the whole entire hour and get a baby to bed who didn't end up actually going to bed. Normally he takes like 5 minutes. This time he's taken almost an entire hour. I rallied in that last 5 minutes and I got 92 words, and that is pretty fantastic. And even though I only got those 92 words, I'm actually feeling pretty good about myself and about what's ahead. At this point, all of the kids are in bed. The only distraction I might have is from my husband, who's probably going to come down and hang out down here for a little while before he goes to bed. And then from here on out, it's just going to be me and my keyboard. And that's exciting. So this next hour, I do hope to be considerably more productive. Because in the last 3 hours, I haven't even managed to pull 1,000 words, which, my whole plan to get 5,000 words in the first 5 hours is completely out the window, but I still feel like I've got a pretty good momentum going. All right, hour 4 has been pretty good. I am losing steam just a little bit, which is fair because, I've been up since 6 a.m. and it's now bedtime. Still feeling pretty good because of the caffeine, I think, because I drink a Red Bull, but ultimately in the end that's only gonna get me so far, and the boost that I had from taking a shower is pretty well gone. I did have a friend join me on some sprints though, and I got some good words in there, and we're probably going to keep going into the next hour. For that one, I got 489 words, which puts me up to 1382, which for hour 4 and hoping that I would get 5,000 in 5 hours is not holding up, but it's still, I'm still making great progress. This will still be the largest word count that I've had in one writing session in years, it feels like. So I'm still going to count that as a win. No matter what happens today, it's a win for me. Like, I could probably stop right here and be satisfied with the work that I did, except that I wouldn't have finished the book and I wouldn't have done the challenge. So what's the point? Being satisfied with the work and figuring out how I'm going to push myself are completely different topics. Okay, I think I have found part of the problem that I'm going to try to jump in front of before it becomes like a real problem. I find that I tend to procrastinate until the last second, and it's how my entire life has always worked. I would get an A+ in procrastination if it were a class, like a legitimate skill you had to learn. I got it. It's not, so it doesn't do me any good. However, what I have been doing is like focusing on scenes. I'm thinking, instead of word count, which I will track still, instead of word count, I will work through scenes in an hour. So I'm thinking I can get roughly 1 to 2 scenes done every hour, and within 1 hour, and that would mean that I have roughly 48 scenes taken care of, which might cover the whole story. It might not, because I might also only get 24 scenes. Obviously that's still progress and I'm not complaining, but I'm trying to maximize the time that I have right now, because this isn't just me trying a cool experiment. This is me trying to finish a story, and this is a luxury that I have. My husband is taking care of the kids for the night and tomorrow. Bedtime with a baby is not great, and he's taking care of that. He's doing everything for me. And so I want to take advantage of that and actually use the time to the best of my ability. And I think that that would probably be the best use of my time, is to focus on getting the scenes done rather than the word count, which is, I've realized in the last year, is still a better part to my process than the word counts are in general. Like when I focused on, okay, I need to have this much written, I wouldn't get that written. But when I focused on, okay, this scene is what I need to work on today, the words got in, the scene got written, and I was far more satisfied. So I'm going to focus on the scenes. Long story short, I'm still in hour 5, still at the beginning. It's like 10:20-ish. Just finished up sprinting with a friend, and now I'm going to try to finish the scene that I'm working on and get started on another scene in this sequence, and maybe I'll have this sequence done by midnight, which would be nice. Not quite the top of the hour. However, I just finished the scene, and so I'm going to take a break. It's hour 6, and so I actually get a prize for having made it this far. Guys, I'm exhausted, and I'm still up and doing this. I cannot tell you how many times in the last hour I thought about just calling it quits and going to sleep. I think from here on out, it's either going to be a big struggle or it's going to be really, 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 really good. Like, I don't think that I have it in me to be anywhere in between. I'm either going to call it quits or I'm going to keep going and it's going to be epic. I got 529 words in that last hour, which is still not quite up to what I really like to have in an hour, but that is also, you know, when I know what I'm writing. So 529 words without having anything like specifically outlined is pretty good in my book. Which puts my total up to 1,911, which means I am going to be hitting 2,000 in this next hour. I might even, with this whole, you know, focus on the scene rather than the word count, I might even be able to put that up to 3. I don't know officially, but it would be really nice. When midnight rolls around, I will actually be able to have one of my little prizes for getting to hour 6. It's been about 6 hours since I had a Red Bull, so this will be, and hopefully a nice little pick-me-up. Hopefully it won't just send me tearing down a horrible road. I'm so tired right now. Even having had a caffeinated beverage, you know, much later in the day than I should have. However, that went a lot better. I got 891 words, which is the best I've done so far, which is hilarious because I'm like so tired right now. But that's got me at 2,802. So not quite to the 3,000 that I was hoping that I would make it to in this one, but I mean, 800 plus 900 words is the best I've done so far, so I'm not complaining about that at all. I do think I need to take a break though, and recompose, maybe get up, walk around, do some things. I'm feeling it, but I don't really think that I should be doing anything caffeinated right now, so I'm not going to. So I'm going to take about a 30-minute break right now, get back to it at about 12:30, and see if I can push through this fatigue and make it to the morning. It doesn't look like it's late in the day, or it doesn't look like it's the middle of the night. Like you can see out there, it's nice and bright and sunny, but that's because I don't even think the sun has set yet, because I live in Alaska, interior Alaska, and if you didn't know, in the summertime we end up with 24 hours of daylight. I'm thinking that I might just be a bulk writer, like plan and then write a whole bunch in a couple of days or something like that, and that would be nice. Not that I don't love the idea of writing consistently every day, but it just doesn't tend to happen. Okay, I'm doing this in the bathroom because it's the quietest place that I can think of where my voice will not carry to the rest of the family. It is currently almost 3 o'clock in the morning. I took my break. I took a nap. It was unintentional. I passed out, and I have zero excuse for it. I was gone, guys. So I definitely lost out on about 2+ hours. However, I'm gonna go back out there and I'm gonna make the best out of the next, I think 20 minutes is what I've got left in this hour, so that I don't completely miss out on writing in, you know, another hour. 268 words, which is actually really not bad for a 10-minute sprint that I shoved into the last 10 minutes of the hour that I slept most of. So, however, I just bumped my word count over 3,000, which is fantastic. I am also almost halfway through with the entire challenge, which is a little wild to me. I was kind of hoping to be a little bit further along in my word count, but what are you gonna do when you take a 2.5 hour nap? I'm a little bit disappointed in myself for that, because I really, really, really wanted to be able to push through and go the whole 24 hours without having fallen asleep. But the thing that would have allowed me to do that comfortably, I didn't end up getting to do. Take what you can get and you move forward, and that's what I'm doing. For the next 3 hours, I'm going to work pretty steadily, and that'll bring me to 6 o'clock, the halfway point of the experiment officially. I will probably make breakfast for the family and then get back to it upstairs, but I will still work in that hour. I'm definitely still not writing to the level that I want to be, like the speed level. And I'm kind of wondering if the length of time that I am allotted to, that I give myself to write. Obviously, it's not necessarily important, like it's the way that I use that time, but I know that I can get like 1,000 words in an hour. And I know that I can, if I focus and I know what I'm writing, that that hour is used incredibly well. So like, why am I only tracking, like the most I've gotten is about 891, and that was a good hour for this experiment. Most of them I have been tracking around 300, like 1 to 300. Below that, the closest one was 675 and then 5 something, and this last one was 321. And it's progress, so I'm not going to discount that, but I'm kind of wondering if I gave myself maybe 10 hours next time, do an experiment, gave myself 10 hours to write something, would I write any faster? You know, because looking at this, I'm probably going to get about 10,000 words finished, and that's great. That's fantastic, and I'm excited. But, like, why am I taking all of this time and exhausting myself and doing it this way when maybe a 10-hour marathon would work better, you know? So, thinking about playing around with the idea of doing, you know, comparing the two. I'm officially at the end of everything that I had plotted out for everything else, and now I get to start on like all of the romantical things, basically going from the portion of the story that I have already written in their perspective and going to where it all meets up at the end of the book. And I'm like, it's all romance, and I have no idea how to write romance, but it's gonna be fun. I've been wanting to spend time with these two for a long time now. I think I'm gonna stop with the hourly updates, and I have a couple of reasons for that. The first is because I just took a like miniature break and put all of the clips that I have into a video, and it's already 50 minutes long, and that is too long. So I will probably update maybe at the halfway point, and then when I get to the 3/4 point, so at 18 hours, and then when I'm done. And that is, I'll still update in my tracker and everything, but the next purpose behind that is because I feel like every time I stop to try to document this like this, I end up like bringing myself out of the rhythm and the flow. And I think that if I were to just work through it, I'd probably get a lot more words than I have gotten. I'm gonna see how that does for me. While this first portion has been, you know, slow going and rough, I'm really hoping that the next portion is considerably more productive. So between the next 2 hours, the goal is that I will reach the 5,000 word mark, which will be exciting because I get to watch a YouTube video at that point. Okay, good morning, humans of the writerly internet variety. I woke up this morning, hint hint, being mercilessly shamed by my children for having fallen asleep again. So I fell asleep once last night, and then again last night at like, I don't know, sometime just before 6. I haven't gotten any words since. So the last, let's see, it's a little bit after 8 right now. So 3 hours I've gotten nothing. And when I woke up, it was about 7:45, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna power through, I'm gonna get words. And then my husband texted me and was like, hey, you wanna come get the baby? Give me like 10 more minutes and I'll be down. And then he took like 20, 30 minutes. And now it's finally around 8:30 and I'm up here, and honestly, I feel a whole lot better. I feel a lot better than I did last night. Skipping the nap was not the wisest idea, and also maybe starting it at night was not the wisest idea. I am going to try this experiment again eventually, but I'm going to try it starting in the morning rather than at night and see if I can make it further, because at the moment I'm sitting at just under 4,000. And for having been doing this write-a-thon for, let's see, we're getting close to hour 15, I think. I should be a lot further than 4,000 words. Granted, I did sleep for about 5 of those. I also want to try doing maybe a 10-hour write-a-thon and see if maybe my procrastination tendency would be better suited for a 10-hour write-a-thon rather than 24, because I feel like there's so much time in 24 hours to just kind of like, I've got time, right? And I did that several times. Like I'd write and then I'd be like, oh, it's not the top of the hour yet. Let me go do this for like 30 seconds. And then I'm doing that for like 30 minutes. And then I'm like, oh, crap, there's a write-a-thon happening and I need to be writing until this time. So I'll write until the top of the hour, do a check-in and call it good. I'm kind of wondering if a 10-hour write-a-thon would be more suited to, like, would I actually get 10,000 words? Because I know I can get 1,000 words in an hour if I'm focused. And that's fantastic. Like, I can get even more than that if I'm focused. But I wasn't very focused last night, even though I was like, yes, I'm gonna focus and get this done and do this. It didn't, ultimately, in the end, it just didn't happen the way that I wanted it to. I am going to continue writing because I have until 6 o'clock tonight to write Sans Children. And then it is family movie night, so we will have a couple hours break. And then it's still technically, June 30th. So I have until the end of the month to finish the novel. I will update you in a couple of hours with how I'm feeling, how I'm doing. I do have my caffeine, I have my water, I have some food. 8:31, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna write for 30 minutes, and then I'm gonna transfer everything that I have over into the actual draft document, because I've been writing on my phone. Transfer it all over and see what I'm sitting at. I did pass 40,000 and I am on my way to 42,000 right now. So within the next hour or so, I should be able to pass that quite easily. And if I make it to 50,000 today, I think that will be my ultimate win. This is gonna be a long vlog. Just to illustrate the kind of day it's been. I just added what I wrote. I added another scene that I wrote in the other document into the official draft 1 document, and it came out to 41,999 words. So like one word shy of 42,000. I'm gonna add a descriptor that is unnecessary somewhere just so that I can get it to 42. Let's have a quick chat. It is currently 12 o'clock, well, a little after 12:30. I got super hungry, so obviously I made food. Deep breaths. Okay, so in this hour, I will be passing the 5,000 word threshold, which will be epic. It has definitely taken me longer to get here than I would have liked, and I gotta say that this whole 24-hour write-a-thon thing is a lot harder than I thought it would be. Like, I was planned, I was prepped, I had everything ready to go, and like the words were fine when I actually wrote, but like I'd find myself sort of, I don't know, almost drifting off, not to sleep until I slept, but like drifting away and just kind of meandering in my mind and not focusing on the words. It certainly took far longer than it should have in order to get to 5,000 words. Like, I'm talking 18 hours, 19 hours almost, just to get to this point. And it probably wouldn't have taken that long if I hadn't taken those sleeps. I'm a little disappointed in myself. I'm feeling a whole lot better than I was last night and even this morning. I'm really gonna try to get 5,000 words in the next 5 or so hours. Like, that is peak goal at the moment. Like, I feel like I can't leave this 24-hour write-a-thon without making at least 10,000. I'm at 5,037 words officially, and I did like 400 words in about 10 minutes. It was great. It was quite unexpected, actually. No, it's 1:11, so it's been about 20 minutes. That's more on par with how I feel like I should be writing. The good news is that I'm feeling a whole lot of momentum. I have approximately 6 hours until this write-a-thon. No, I have approximately 5 hours until this write-a-thon is over. I'm gonna have to stop vlogging a little bit though, because my iPhone is out of storage, and that is fun. It's gonna make vlogging a little bit difficult, so I think I'll probably just update you at the very end and tell you how I did and close out this vlog with my final thoughts. I'm currently at 43,364 words, and if I can make it to 50,000 tonight, that would make my day. Okay, everybody, ignore the sounds coming from not me. That is my family. I want to get this over with quick because it is the end of the day. I'm exhausted. I just want to go down and hang out and maybe, I don't know, not cry because I'm so tired. Anyway, so I finished. It is officially 6:14 and I finished 15 minutes ago, but what I am doing right now is actually, I ended up with 7,833 and I'm just writing to make it an even 8,000. This challenge has been far more challenging than I thought that it was going to be. You know, I was so heavily prepared and it was great. I knew exactly what I was going to do, but I think that there were just a bunch of things that were working against me because I was going to take a nap before I started, so I was going to wake well rested, and that didn't work. So I think in the end, the best thing to have done would be to sleep, wake up the next morning well rested, ready for the day, and actually start the challenge at, you know, in the morning rather than at night, even with kids. My overall thoughts of the challenge were that it was fun and it was challenging. Last night was so hard and I mostly just wanted to go to sleep, which obviously I did twice, and that was pleasant. Honestly, sleeping was nice. But then I woke up this morning and was like completely ready, rejuvenated, ecstatic to get going, and I went. Like, most of what I wrote today happened within about 8 hours. So I got about 3,000 words in about 5 hours, which is still not the, 1,000 words an hour I'd like to track, but it was still better than I was doing last night. So I think in the end, I'm just either gonna do like a 10-hour write-a-thon or go as fast as I can to 10K kind of thing. In the end, I think 24-hour write-a-thons are not for me. I might try it again someday. I'll be done in like 2 seconds. That's my cue. I gotta go. Thank you everybody who cheered me on and for joining me on this 24-hour writing challenge. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, keep writing forward.